All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Serious Angler podcast, powered by our friends over at X2 Power Batteries. As always, joined by the captain himself, Mr. Andy Full, and I am your host, Bailey Egbert. What's going on, Andy?
Oh, not a whole lot. I have a couple days off here from guiding until Friday, and then things really hit the fan for being busy, and I can't wait to continue to have bleeding thumbs.
Hey, bleeding thumbs is a good sign.
Oh, yeah, they're hurting. Like, I was out fishing today, and the fluorocarbon, like the 20-pound test, just flying off the reel. Literally, like, there's blood all over my reel from my thumb, just oozing. I'm like, yeah, I need to put some super glue or something on that because that's bad. It's like my third cast.
I believe that is called Maxent.
Yes.
Right, that's all you're doing. You're
if we're hunting vampires, right? Like if we're chasing toothy critters, it would make sense.
Yeah, you're just shark fishing, man. You're just chumming the water. That's all.
That's all. I guess you can consider smallmouth kind of like sharks. They're kind of like freshwater piranhas in a way. Like Great Lakes, they just eat everything in sight, and they're half dumb, but sometimes fickle, and they piss me off. But yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Sounds like you're describing pickerel, honestly.
Pickerel always eat. Like it doesn't matter what the weather condition is. A pickerel will always eat. Smallmouth, not so much.
Yeah, we might say smallmouth might be the dumbest freshwater fish, but I think a pickerel's got it beat by a landslide.
Yeah. Or like a redbreast sunfish. They're pretty dumb as well. Like you can dangle just about anything in front of them and they will eat it. So
that was very specific, Andy.
So you get with me.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. Just gosh. There's always something.
What do you want me to talk pumpkin seeds here? Like how
no. I mean,
like why not?
I think people are tuning into this show for some bass fishing. Not, I don't think they give a hoot about some panfish. Maybe bass some crappie guys.
Panfish, all right. Bass eat them, so they are relevant.
Yeah, they're relevant, but I don't want to listen to them.
Oh, what's up with you, buddy?
Not much, man. It's been a hectic freaking week. I'm ready to talk some bass fishing. We got our good buddy, Mr. Justin Hamner, who's coming on the show hot off a good event at Lay Lake. That was dude, it was a super intriguing event to watch. It looked like a roller coaster for some guys. Like there was some fireworks. It seemed like it was very window specific from a bite standpoint. And we're going to try to break down that whole Coosa and how those fish behave, all that jazz with Justin here in a second. Before we bring him on, hectic week for me work-wise, but also got the new kayak in, so I'm pretty hyped up. Got it all rigged up and ready. Got tournament this weekend. We'll break her in for the first time. So I'm pumped for that. Thanks again to the folks over at Morgan Marine for getting to do everything. They're a Hobie mad scientist, if you will, over there.
Did you get another ocean liner?
Ocean liner?
Like, was it the PA 14 or whatever the monster one is?
Yes, I got another PA 14.
Yeah, the ocean liner.
I don't know how it's an ocean liner. You still run my butt over. I don't know how it's an ocean liner. It's still a plastic boat.
You can run that kayak in the ocean, therefore it is an ocean liner. Like, it's a big kayak.
Yeah, okay, yes, I'll agree with you. It's a big kayak. Regardless, cool tournament coming up this weekend, but I wanted to say thanks again to the folks over at Morgan Marine that do all of that for me. It's where I get my Hobie from. Big shout out to them. Make it super easy and way better than I would do it because I'd break everything and it would be a mess. But beyond that, something cool that we've talked about a little bit on this podcast, but haven't really formally announced yet, is that the Serious Angler Network itself, not just the Serious Angler podcast, but Business from the Bass Boat as well, are working with Rec Lending this year. So if you guys are interested in getting a boat, have a boat, curious how boat financing even works, and want to get very solid knowledge and advice from people that know the ins and outs of it and know how to do it right, head over to the folks at Rec Lending. We have the links down below. You guys can go check out. And because I don't know anything about boats, I was literally just talking about a kayak, so you don't want to ask me. Andy and Deacon have a great foundation of knowledge, but Rec Lending is top notch and can really help you out if you're looking to finance a boat, get into buying a boat, that sort of thing. So check them out. Highly encourage you to. But Andy, I think it's time we get our guest here on the show.
Agreed.
Mr. Justin Hamner. What's going on, dude?
What's happening, guys? How y'all doing?
Good, man. Good. It must have been nice having an event where you can literally sleep in after the last bit.
Yeah, that felt so good. Like an hour and a half drive home. Actually having my family and kids, everybody, friends, everybody there to watch. Yeah, it's hard to beat that.
Heck yeah, dude. For what looks like a monsoon, it seemed like a pretty freaking big crowd and loud crowd at that.
Dude, that was so cool. I mean, yeah, I didn't win, but that was pretty awesome watching Will win. I grew up fishing against him, and I mean, I knew he was going to be tough going into this event. But yeah, all the people there, and then when it started just flooding like that, and they just sat there, they didn't care. I think that made it pretty special. He sat there after the weigh-in and sat there and hugged probably 50 to 60 people that was just in a line, just one after another, pouring down rain. It was awesome.
That's what it's all about, dude. People not giving a damn about the weather. Like,
no,
like get to safety, and people are like, "Nah, I'm gonna go hug Will."
Yeah, screw this. I'm staying.
Yeah, that's awesome. Heck yeah. Well, the crazy part too, like when people don't, believe you when you say these pop-up storms. Like literally, I think 30 minutes ago they showed a clip of Will. It's like sun shining. I think it was a spawner or something that he was fishing for, and then like an hour later, it's monsoon.
Alabama. Yeah, she's a little. I don't know. It's a little finicky. It'll be 1 minute, like I said, just bluebird sky, and then if you hear that thunder rumble, it's about to go down. But it ain't gonna last long. 10 minutes, she's done.
Usually hear it before you probably see it too.
Oh yeah, it gets rough.
I mean, I think of what I really learned the power of the weather down there was like I think it was you guys Pickwick event like 2 years ago. Was it like literally within hours it changed the entirety of what the week's gonna look like?
There was places like you could see like, oh yeah, I really wish the water was up high enough where I could get into this little backwater place, but it's just dry land for like 20 foot. And then tournament day, like that entire island was underwater and you couldn't even tell where the island was. It was just like, okay, cool. You might have to start over from practice.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My starting spot was like a grass that was in like 3 foot of water. It was in like 14.
Oh my god.
It's like I don't think they'll be in there still.
So like when something like that, for example, when that happened, like and you see, oh god, it's 14, not 3. Like, are you still trying to fish it, or are you just saying, hey, today's a brand new day, brand new lake?
I put down the trolling motor, looked at it, like, nope, picked it right back up and left.
Peace.
Yeah, didn't even make a cast.
Yeah, I think the Neely Henry tournament too was like that. The one where West won was the same thing, wasn't it? Like, and the lake was like 6 or 7 feet higher on one end than the other, and the other end was like bone dry.
Yeah. That was awesome because I had about 20 pounds on bed, and I went back down there, and you could see the beds up on dry land.
Oh my god!
But I don't even
talk
that first year.
Talk about pissed.
I'm telling you.
And now that's a Coosa River chain lake too, right? For Neely Henry.
Yeah, so, know that lake really good.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's weird. And they actually did stuff this week at Lay that I haven't seen in a while. I don't know. For no rhyme or reason, they just dropped it.
Let's dive into that though. I mean, because that was, you had a great finish this past weekend, top 10.
I don't
think any of you guys are going to complain when you're fishing on Sunday. But like, it seemed like a super finicky, fickle fishery in regards to. It seemed like it's like super window specific. Like when they put up several anglers on live, where they put like their bag, their 5 fish, and the times that it was at, it would be like you'd have 2 fish at 8:08 and then 8:10, and then nothing till 10:30 and then 10:34. Like it seems super specific. Like why is it like that? Why is it so window specific there?
I don't know. It's always been kind of like that, but I think the big deal is this time of year with the shad spawn going on, them things are feeding, first thing in the morning, and then after that, window's over with, I think it just really dies, and then it'll start to pick up and just kind of taper off through the day. I mean, that's my theory, but it is kind of a weird, windowy lake because also the generators. I mean, they might turn on one turbine for an hour, and so you'll actually have current rolling for an hour, and then when they cut it back off, feeding window's over.
Is that like one of those lakes where everyone knows the dam is going to play and could play, but it's more of just that risk versus reward game of you're waiting for if the generators turn on?
It is, and I mean, yeah, everybody knows about the dam, but
Right.
you can catch them pretty good sometimes, even without the generators. Um, yeah, the more generators, the better, obviously, but it's still about knowing that right spot. There's certain little 80s and seams that are just you better know them and know how to get your bait down there. Uh, Will's that's the thing. Will is probably the best on that lake, or one of the best up there at that dam. And with it playing, yeah, he was gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, and I don't even think he went up to the dam on day one. I think it was day two. We were texting with Will. We're trying to get him on the show to break it all down, but I don't think I saw him go up there till day two. But like lay how it's set up was a lot of guys fishing bank grass. There were some spawners. It seemed like there was a lot that was going on, but primarily in your eyes, how does lay set up in regards to catching quality fish?
It's really, really a good lake. Like we didn't show it at all. So normally that grass bite would have been dumb this time of year. And it was getting dumb. Like first day of practice, it was still pretty good, although they had just dropped it like 6 or 7 inches. I mean, this is a lake that they usually don't fluctuate at all. It's usually pretty much what it is, what it is. You know, even after floods and stuff like that, it barely rises. But for whatever reason, this week they dropped it like 8 inches. And that's just, they never do that there. And I think it just freaked those fish out. I mean, we should have been fishing grass all day, getting blow ups on frogs, buzz baits, just you can do that all day long, catching 3 pounders. That's what coming into this, I totally expected you'd have to have 16 to 17 a day just to make the top 10 and 13, 14 pounds to make the top 50 cut. I mean, there's just so many 3 pounders in there that
Yeah,
we did
13,
not
14
see.
pounds was a really good bag. Especially.
Yeah. This week it was like, dang, he freaking called them.
Yeah, I
13
mean,
pounds.
I don't think in our group chat, we didn't even believe for a sec. We thought Bass made a mistake when they said Christy had a 9.4 in his bag. We're like, what?
Yeah, that was freaking nuts. All right, that ain't normal though.
Where did that fish come from?
So back in the day, there was a tournament. It's called March Outdoors Tournament, and it would have like 1,000 boats in the tournament. Yeah, 1,000. It was nuts. But they gave every boat would have a bag of fingerling Florida strain largemouth, and you take it to your first spot and release them there. So those genetics got in here, and I mean, when they were doing that, it was really popping. I mean, if you didn't have 20 pounds, you wasn't doing nothing.
Dang.
But I guess that's just one of them stragglers still left. I don't know.
It was super interesting to see because the crew at Bass were commenting on, you know, the water being a little bit shallow, why these fish might be a little bit finicky. And obviously you recognizing them dropping it in practice. What adjustment or what clued you into like your adjustment of throwing that jerkbait? And I know this is something you love to do because I've fished Neely. Granted, it was for one day with you, and whether you have live scope or not, you were really good with that jerkbait on the Coosa. So what triggered that to go try and find that bite, and when seeing that they dropped the water?
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, first and foremost, jerkbait's my go-to. But as soon as I started noticing that the grass bite was getting worse, and I think I don't know when I was on live or not, but I talked about it a lot. I think those fish were just literally just pulling out in front of that grass and just chilling, especially those largemouth, because I mean, you would see them on Panoptics just literally right out in front of that grass, but they weren't just sitting on bottom doing nothing. They weren't chasing. They just sit there suspended. And that's what made it so frustrating because they were not actively feeding. They weren't, going up and down the grass line. No, they just sat there. And it was so frustrating because the only thing you could get them to bite was that jerkbait. And I had to rip. I mean, I was ripping it. And if I paused it and they got a good look at it, they'd swim right away. It was, yeah, it was a crazy thing. So you had to like literally make it go just like within inches right above their head. If it was below them, they would get scared. If it was like too high away, they wouldn't actually come chase. It had to get like in their grill, piss them off, and then they just like kind of snap at it. But that was the other problem. They would snap at it, have one hook, and I lost so many big ones. It was stupid.
Yeah, you and a few other guys as well, like Patrick Walters lost a couple good ones doing the same thing, and like that had one hook. I mean, you knew it was stingy when Walters was like, "I can only get him to eat a jerkbait, so I have 7 jerkbaits on the deck right now."
Yeah, exactly.
That's when you know.
Now, when they turned the generators on, did they bite a little better, or did they just continue to do the same stupid largemouth float in the middle of the water column and sunbake kind of?
That's the thing that confused me the most. I thought coming into this tournament, I would have, 17 to 18 pounds of spots every day, and not a clue. I don't know what happened to them suckers, but like whenever the water turns on for them, they usually feed, and they're like the reliable fish. And the largemouth are always kind of finicky. And I weighed in one spot all week, like not a clue.
There goes the game plan.
Like completely. So, and I didn't even practice like trying to catch them because I was like, I don't want anybody to see me doing that. So I didn't even fish any of it in practice. Day one of the tournament, go out there, like first spot I pull up to, like third cast, catch like a 3-pound spot. Yep, this about right, and didn't catch another good spot the rest of the tournament.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
So
if you can figure that one out, let me know.
Yeah. All these.
They were there. Yeah. Like they were there. I don't get it.
So when you mentioned they're sitting off the grass line, are you just running any grass line hoping just to see them, or is there like specific stuff you're looking for?
It was somewhat specific as to what area of the lake I wanted to do that at, because I feel like the lower end had more fish that were actually trying to spawn, more fish later in the year spawning on the deeper end of the lake towards the dam. But and two, it's just those steeper banks and you can actually see them better, whereas the upper end of the lake's just shallow. I mean, the whole pocket will be 4 foot deep, so it's kind of hard to really tell what you're looking at, I guess.
Right.
So down there you can actually see what size the fish were before.
Right. Were you surprised to see that spawning bass played such a factor for some folks, like Polnick, for example?
Not really. I didn't. It's about what I expected to still be spawning,
right?
But I think it played so big because the other fish were acting so weird. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's about normal for what it was because there wasn't a ton still spawning.
Right, and it seemed like the ones he was catching spawning were like in the middle of pockets, not on the bank or anything. Some of that was a little bit more preserved in regards to like a little bit deeper of water, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. I know the stump that he caught him on.
Well, you probably got a waypoint right there, don't you?
Yeah, fished at him. Actually fished it in practice just a little too early, I guess.
Oh, boy. Didn't see them suckers pull up, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, good times. That's the fun thing about knowing that lake really well. Whenever you go to it, you're like, yep, I know what they fish. Just whoop me on that.
You're just sitting there
Now, since you know the lake so well, have you gone back and watched like any of the footage from it and been like, oh, that guy's doing something completely off the wall that I didn't know
about? No, not yet. I don't know. Because kind of know what everybody was doing for the most part. Like, I think the most interesting one was Shakur, how he managed to make that one ledge last for 4 days. And actually caught the spot. Like, I was mad at him for catching those 3-pound spots. Props to him, though.
I was mad at him.
Hey, I was mad at him. Like,
He's mad
you don't
at
understand.
Yes.
I was more just mad at the spots in general, but the fact that he figured out to catch them, it's like, hey, good job. I wanted to fillet some spots after that tournament.
He was going full Gussie on that. It was pretty impressive. One thing I didn't even think about, because they showed a few clips Bass posted on their social media of Shakurt doing exactly that. Do you think guys look at that at all, like what Bass posts, like clips wise, and try to, like, even if guys are
We actually talked about that. Yeah, that's a very gray rule.
Is there a rule in place that you can't?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, really?
So, but it's like, if you're scrolling through Instagram and it happens to come up, you can't watch it for the intention of trying to gain an advantage, if that makes sense.
Why even have a rule at that point?
So, like, you can watch it, but you can't use it.
Yeah, you're not supposed to, like, watch videos, but how many times, like, is there a picture of somebody holding a fish up, got a lure hanging out of his mouth, and a big obvious, background that everybody knows where it's at? It's like, oh, yep, just saw that picture. Like,
so they're just going through your guys' like Instagram search tabs just to see if you search Bass Nation.
So they're watching who likes the video post is what they're doing.
I have no idea. That's what
that's odd. Yeah.
Just stay clear of it.
Make your post if you're going to post, and then just get off of it. And
exactly.
Because, like, I mean, I feel like for the majority of guys, like, they might see it, but they're not going to let it affect. They already got their game plan. Like, I feel like if there's any guys at your level on the elites that are factoring in their game plan because of a clip on Bass Nation, they're probably like, you probably don't have to worry about those guys.
Probably not going to last long. No. If that's your strategy. Good luck.
Gonna ride it out for day one and then look at the clips.
Yeah, I just want to see the fights that'll happen after somebody tries to pull in on them.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, back to the Coosa. Little tangent there.
No, that's good.
So
I like tangents.
It seemed like there was a lot going on in regards to pattern. Is that a consistent always there on the Coosa River where it's just there's a lot that can play?
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I think it was such a good reason for us to come, because you can do anything. And especially this time of year, even though it was weird. Yeah. But if it had been normal conditions, you can be flipping grass all day, frogging, swim jig, whatever, or guys can be offshore, like Shakurt doing that deal. Down there on my end of the lake where I was fishing, me and Patrick, we were kind of doing something a little bit different off the wall, but there's so many fish down there that were already starting to school. I think it would have really been a pretty cool thing, like really drastic, if they would actually bit halfway decent.
Right.
Because I think me and Patrick were the only ones that, like, went down from beeswax in the top 10.
Really?
So that was pretty cool, I guess.
Right. And with that, with so many different patterns playing, are there dominant patterns that play throughout the year, or are there kind of swings of, like, fish might migrate to wanting a swim jig more, or, like, it's obviously condition specific, but, like, is there something that stays dominant, or does it kind of like ebb and flow in regard to pattern?
Yeah, the grass stays dominant year round. That's going to be a big player regardless. But that, like, right now, the brush pile deal is about to start kicking off. Like, that was starting, but it's just really, really early. I was hoping that was going to be a little bit better than it was, but it's starting. But now, yeah, through the summer, the ledge bite gets pretty dang good there.
How deep are we talking, like, with these brush piles or ledges, that sort of deal?
They're, like, the tops of them will be a lot shallower, like 5-6 foot on the top. Boat, could be sitting in 20 foot.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, down the lake, I mean, it changes so much. I don't know if you could tell how different it looked, like where I was fishing versus where like Will or Fighter or somebody like that was fishing. Like my boat was sitting in 30 to sometimes 40 foot of water, where their boat, you know, never left 5 foot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it almost just changes into a completely different lake down there. It's a lot more fish on that lower end, a lot more spotted bass, things like that. But yeah, it's really a unique lake. I want to come back here in like February. If we came back in
Right.
February, gosh, it'd be dumb. It would be stupid. I'm telling you.
Put the vote in
Those,
now.
yeah, that's what I tried to tell them on stage, and like the whole crowd just like, yeah.
Well, when you said
Yeah.
it on stage,
Yeah, it's like we need to come back here in February, show what this lake can really do, and like the whole crowd's yelling, you know, like yeah, it's actually good then.
yeah, yeah. I mean, with the grass deal, is that still prevalent in February?
That's when it's good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like
So is that
yeah,
like when it's
January.
starting?
Well, December through February is probably the best time for the grass. Like the colder it gets, the better the grass, I guess.
Just more condensed the fish get in the grass type of deal.
I have no idea.
Now, do they
They
run?
don't leave the grass.
Do they run more current, like from December through February? Because you know sometimes you have to heat your house, and people are pulling the electrical current from the dam. I'm assuming it's electrical producing dam, right?
Yeah, it is, but it's more of just depends on like the rain we get.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I mean, like during the summer, they'll still pull some, I guess, just to have it, even when we haven't had rain in a while. But it'll definitely slow way down.
Got it.
We got Lenny Speed in the comments right now on Facebook asking, "What's your favorite jerkbait?"
God, dude, I had 7 different jerk baits out on. I feel like they're like everything else. I mean, I throw the Yozuri a lot, and that deep diver one because it gets the deepest. Like unless you get to the Megabass like +2, that Yozuri deep diver actually gets to like 10 foot on like 12-pound test, which is pretty cool. Throw that one a lot. The hardcore has like a 130 size. I caught a bunch of fish on that. I mean, obviously, those other ones are really good, but dude, yeah, I think they're more, you know, specific to what I want to do with them.
Right.
I like them all. I like dirt baits.
I seen your box when we were at Neely, and I was like, "Good Lord!"
Yeah, I carry like 4 or 5 boxes.
Man
at
likes
all
the jerk
times.
baits. Yeah.
I like my dirt
Those
baits.
couple expensive boxes you got there, though. Like,
Yeah. I'd fight somebody over them.
I was gonna say, you want to hurt him, or just take out those boxes in the morning?
Please don't. Please don't.
Well, dude, what's
I keep a couple in my pocket at all times just in case.
trouble hooks on them still?
Yeah. Ain't
nothing. Ain't no thing.
I don't care.
That's
You
funny.
ain't stopping me.
What's your setup for that jerkbait?
It's depending on. I mean, it's always going to be the Halo Scott Canterbury rod. Ever since I've used that rod, it's legit. It's 7-foot cranking rod, and I like at Champlain. I've probably got 60 to 70 fish a day on it, and I lost 1 fish the entire week, and it was because it actually pulled the rod out of my hand. It's a different story, but yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, that with I usually do like a 7.5 gear ratio. I don't have a lot of patience. I like to go fast.
Well, dude, you have, Deacon was texting us too. Like you have a very interesting cadence in regard. It's very fluid, very smooth. You definitely don't seem to do like there's guys that believe in it's just a jerk pause. Yours is just go. Just don't even stop.
Yep. That's what, and it's not always like that, but like I said, dude, I mean, I'm pretty dialed in with the penalties and stuff, and every time I would get a fish to react was I would have to jerk it literally right over their head to get them to even move. Like normally, you'll see them come chasing it from a distance or something. No, but as soon as I would pause it, it would spook them and they would just shoot off. So like, yeah, if I stop, I can't stop. So I'm glad you like my fluid.
Yeah, that's right.
Jerking.
Yeah, you just had to go there.
We're not.
That was awesome.
Glad you noticed that.
You're welcome. We're really studying your methods here.
Yeah, I would.
Smooth motion. Like,
trust me, I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Don't have a lot.
Good Lord. In all seriousness, no. Good Lord, I can't speak there.
This didn't just run off the rails.
Yeah, it's just going to be spinning now.
I got you thinking about some stuff. Can't even concentrate on.
Andy, it's your show, buddy.
I think that's all you needed from me. You can get a clip off that one.
Here you go. You did your job, buddy. We'll see you later.
Yep. Good talk.
For a lot of folks, though, in all seriousness, jerkbait fishing can seem relatively intimidating in regards to that. Out of a lot of techniques, it can be relatively challenging to learn. I think that's one thing that people can kind of pick up from, watching you or Walter's. Walter's a similar cadence where it's like you don't need to worry. I feel like starting out with just going straight, not stopping, is a great way just to learn of like your motion, get comfortable with it. Would you agree, or do you think?
I completely agree. I mean, especially this time of year. From here on, you're going to get more bites than you could any time of year on a jerkbait, and especially in the summertime, if you can just keep a steady pace. I mean, even if you don't have the pan optics or whatever, just throw it out there and just work it at a steady pace. Because what it's doing is just like a spook under the water. It's just walking the dog. So, I mean, yeah, you can stop it and make it do whatever, but how many times do you stop working a spook on the surface?
True.
That's
a really good comparison. I like that.
So, I don't know. That's just a really good way to.
Right. Well, do you think that because of forward-facing sonar because a lot of folks, a few years ago would say that a jerkbait excels more in cold water better than anything. Whereas you just said, like, from now on, you're going to get more bites on a jerkbait than you would the rest of the year. So, like, you think forward-facing sonar has really shown that jerkbait is good any time of year?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, dude, I used to crush them on it in the summertime before forward-facing. Yeah, it was dumb because like they'd never seen it. But yeah, now it's like everybody uses it year-round. But winter's my least favorite time to throw a jerkbait. I don't like it.
It's because you have to break up your rhythm and not be so fluid.
Yeah, I don't like that. Pauses. I don't like pausing. I like
fluid, baby, fluid.
That's why I like the fluid.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, but I don't get as many bites on it in the wintertime either. It's like it's just frustrating. Yeah, I don't know.
Now, maybe what you have to do is you have to slow down your fluid movements, but keep it just like give it a little bit less.
Yeah. Actually, so is anybody watching this?
No, there's not.
Okay, good. So in the wintertime, just try it. Just us. Just try it, like literally pulling. Don't actually jerk to where it makes it pop and gives it that hard action. Just do the pull. And all it does is like the little swim, and then it pause. Little swim, pause. Just try it.
Are you talking pull like football jig, like you're feeling every rock?
Yeah, like literally, you're just sweeping the rod.
And you're sweeping it obviously probably on a slack line, so it's barely moving and just kind of wobbling and turning.
I mean, it'll be tight line. I mean, but instead of doing that, actually jerking the rod to make it snap. You just do that pull, and all it does is just like barely swim, and then stop.
That's super intriguing. Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that is.
I've got buddies telling me to stop talking.
Yeah.
They're texting me right now. Yeah.
Stop it, Hamner, stop.
I wonder how that would work with smallies up here in the north.
I'm sure they're
If
gonna
you throw a hot dog in the water, they'll eat it.
That is facts. At a certain point of time, yes.
Cheeto eaters.
You need to work on your fluidity, if that's a word,
Yeah.
up there, because they crush it going fast.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right.
It is dumb.
That's awesome.
Do that one more time. Hit that thing.
There's your clip right there. Good Lord.
Okay.
Well, so for someone, whether it's Coosa or not, like a place that has bank grass that, you know, that looks similar to what you saw at Lay, someone that's approaching that and say they're not getting bites, what adjustment would you make first if you're not getting bit? You know, whether swim jigging the grass, frogging, flipping, that sort of thing. What's your first move?
I mean, honestly, I would go to, like, if those fish were in the grass, like say in the pockets, I would first go to the middle of the pocket, start looking for like brush piles. I mean, you know, something that they can actually relate to. My first instinct is not just, oh, let me look for suspenders out in front of the grass, because usually they do want to go to something. And I mean, that's where I'm going to start. And then I'll start working like towards the points, things like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense, because there's a lot of folks that, like, when their deal, say it's in practice or say it's a home lake, that they're like, oh man, my fish just disappeared, where they kind of just assume that they're gone because that one pattern or that one specific spot isn't going down, where those fish just don't evaporate, you know, and just magically appear 10 miles down lake. You know, that they're going to go somewhere. So what things from that standpoint of like finding whether a place where they backtrack or they go forward, is there something you do mentally to try to like figure out what the next step or a backtrack might be?
Yeah. Like, honestly, Polinick, the way he breaks it down on how he finds fish, his whole like triangular system, that's like the easiest way I've ever understood breaking it down. Because you have where they're wanting to spawn and then where they're going to in the summertime. And it's literally like just drawing lines between the two and figuring out, are they on that point? Are they on the channel swing? I mean, yeah, it's a process of elimination. So you knew where they were.
Yeah.
Start working your way out.
So for
They
something
can't
like
go no
that,
further up.
right. So with say you make a triangle, right, like that, is that a all practice working one triangle, or are you doing like one a day? Like how does that work?
Oh no, I kind of do it for like, I'll do that for a certain, like, take a bay for an instance. You know, we have one bay where they're all spawning in the back of the bay. Okay, well then I'll break that down to, if they're in the grass up shallow, where's the place they're going to go next, and it's going to be, you know, the secondary points. There might be some brush piles out in the middle, things like that, and that's just kind of how I break down each creek or pocket. Basically, just figuring out, all right, grass, spawn, whatever, and then just back it up from there, all the way to the river ledge.
I love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, going into the tournament, that's what I want to do. Even if you find them in the grass, yeah, I mean, we all hope that it stays the same for a week, but probably ain't.
Right.
I mean, it's just be real.
Tournament weekend, it's not going to stay the same.
Yeah, they're going to get beat to death, and then them things are going to freak out and probably just pull over to the nearest stump or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, that's why I want to have everything around that area where I find a group of fish and know where they can go. I'm not necessarily going to know exactly which thing they're going to be on every time, you know, predict it, but I'm just going to do the process of elimination.
That's a really good tip. I feel like people so overanalyze, especially in practice, and that is an easy reminder. Like when your brain just starts going haywire of like, hey, get back to that triangle, that 3-point deal of like, where could they possibly be? Look on your map. I mean, it's one that's like easy to break down, where you can just start almost like from a research standpoint, start plotting your different triangles. You know what I mean? I think that's a great method
Absolutely.
and great reminder of that, because I feel, Andy, we've talked about that a while ago. Because back in your Durbin days, that's something you said you tried to implement as well.
Always.
Smart.
You always have to be not one step ahead, because it seems like the fish are always one step ahead, but you always kind of have to have as many cards in your pocket to understand what is going on and where they may go. And sometimes they go the opposite direction too. And you're just like, why the hell did they go all the way in the brush? And then you have to think why. And be like, oh, the lake came up a foot. No wonder why they left the grass one shallow as opposed to going deep. So there's tons of factors that go into it. It's just understanding what body of water you're on and where they're going and why.
Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, don't ever, like, doesn't even make sense why they would be there. Don't argue with them. Just remember not to argue with them.
Just remember, the bass didn't write the book. The humans wrote the book, and the bass are animals, so they do what they want.
100%.
They like their life. Don't argue.
I don't know why. Exactly. I don't know why. It don't make sense, but whatever. Let's do it.
The only people arguing with bass are the ones that aren't married.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I don't know. I've had a few arguments with bass.
Come on, you gotta learn. You gotta learn.
I still lose them.
We have a really good comment here from one of our avid listeners, Anthony Geis, on we were talking about you pulling the jerkbait. He says he drifts in the kayak and pulls here and there on a jerkbait. Do it all the time drunk. Works well. I can't imagine being drunk trying to deal with 3 treble hooks. It just sounds like
I don't think he's actually dealing with any treble hooks.
Oh, good Lord. I didn't even read it like that. That's amazing.
Yep. I don't know. I can't believe that you actually pulled it up.
Yeah, I thought he was serious.
But yeah, I don't think jerkbait's really in that equation.
Oh Lord, damn! This is what I say. Like,
definitely not a soft jerkbait.
Really, you have to remember. You have to remember. You have to be careful with Anthony what he writes in the comments. All right, like,
Anthony.
Keep him coming, Anthony.
Anthony easily has the award for the best comments on every show. Yeah, see, when I tell people I'm oblivious, like, it is actually really bad. And there's Exhibit A.
That was pretty bad.
Man.
Right over my head. That was good.
I think we can chalk this whole episode up at this point.
Yeah, yeah, we're good.
You're pretty sheltered as a child, weren't you, Bailey?
Yes, quite much. Yeah.
No SpongeBob for him.
Oh God,
Lord. That's incredible. Well, dude, going up, rest of the year, you got Sabine. Sabine's next one, right? No.
Yep.
Is it? Yeah.
It's Sabine.
Sabine, then St. Clair, and then to the northeast.
Yep.
Any one of them kind of top of mind that you're excited for than the rest of them?
Definitely Champlain. I mean, a top 10 there the first year I was there. I just can't wait to get back though. That's the best fishery, in my opinion, in the country.
You were throwing a jerkbait.
The most fun. Was I in the top 10?
It's okay.
That's the only reason.
It's the only way you made the top 10.
Now you're like overthinking my comment.
He's overthinking the jerking.
Always.
But yes, I was. I was doing a couple of different deals in that one. How do I leave?
Yeah, I was saying, what? Bye, Justin. Yes, I'm out of here. Oh, good Lord. Dude, so have you been to Sabine before?
Yeah, my first year.
Okay, that was your first year.
Yeah.
It's got to be really challenging for you guys because it feels like every year there's less water to fish because of the whole Louisiana private water deal.
Yeah. That's frustrating. It really is because there's so much water over there. But, I mean, everybody's on the same rules, so whatever.
Right. I just feel like it's hard to keep up with, like, what's private, what's not. You know what I mean?
Oh, you just put a blinder on when you're going down the lake. Just don't even look that way.
Oh, so you just don't even face that. That's
because it's pretty much. I mean, there's a couple places like right there by the ramp that are like a little weird, but for the most part, it's just the whole going up the whole right side of the river is off limits. So it's not too bad.
that's gotta suck.
Yeah, especially when it's like the best looking stuff.
Right.
There's some good looking stuff over there.
And it's untouched at that point.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to like say cast in there in practice, would you guys get in any trouble for that?
I don't know. If it's in practice, I don't know. I'm not gonna try it.
Yeah, don't even mess with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not gonna attempt that one. I mean, if you mess up and like, oh, I didn't know, was this off limits? I'm sure they'd be fine with that.
Right.
Not fishing in the tournament.
Right.
So, but it's so weird because, like last time I ran like 65-ish miles one way, and I mean I go way back up in a creek, and then it like forks off into another creek, and I go like under a bridge, and like I'm freaking in here. I get in there, and like after about 5 casts, look up, and there's 3 more boats coming in the same little bitty pocket. It's like, really? I don't know how everybody finds everything.
It's like the most like defeating feeling because you feel like, yeah, I got the sneak hole. And you're like, oh, hey, everybody.
Yep, come on in. It's just, they find everything. That is the most difficult part about the lease is there you'll never have anything to yourself.
No secrets.
None.
So going back to the Coosa again, in regards to the grass, so say you're going down a bank, you're fishing grass. Like how long will you go? Say if you're swim jigging until you switch to frogging or flipping without getting a bite.
Gosh, that's so situational. If I know that the fish are in there, like for instance, there's a lot of dollar grass in lay, and like that's the good stuff. So it'll be like patches of dollar grass throughout the willow grass. So if I come to a dollar grass patch, I'm gonna try, swim jig, and then I'll try throwing frog over it, and then I'll try flipping, and I mean kind of do that until I get bit. Once I get bit with something, kind of just lock that and roll.
And that's kind of more of an experience thing, though, right? Not knowing that those fish are there without getting bit.
Yeah, I mean, just having confidence. I mean, this is the right stuff. You know when you kind of pull into areas like there ain't no way, there ain't no fish in this.
Right.
Try a few different things then.
Yeah. So with that too, brings up a great point because this is the thing I struggle with big time. Is these windows where it's like you might be casting for an hour and you're not going to get bit at all, but there might be something that just clicks, and for the next 30 minutes it's going to be you're going to be making some hay. How do you as an angler mentally prepare or even acknowledge that is going to be the case? Like say you're fishing a specific spot that is just window specific, you have to be there for when it turns on. How do you mentally prepare for something like that?
Gosh, you asked some situational questions.
Can I answer?
Yeah, go for it. Sure. I got an answer too.
I was gonna say to live in the South and to deal with that on a daily basis with all of the fishing pressure, because up north our fish are usually pretty dumb. You can catch them all day.
That's why I suck at it. Yeah. So if it's a spot that you're not going to be able to just go do something else and then come during the window, like that sucks. Where you just have to sit there. But I mean, usually you can kind of tell in practice what when that window kind of is, because I mean it just like seems to be like no matter where you're what you're doing, like every day about 10 o'clock, I started getting bit pretty good. It didn't matter what I was doing. So then it's like once you find your best area in practice, it's like okay, this is my good stuff. Let me make sure I'm going to be there at this time. So yeah, on day one I might start there and then stay there until I get bit at that 10 o'clock hour. Well, the next day I'm going to go somewhere else in the morning, see if I can't get something else rolling, and then get there about 9:30 just to make sure I'm still in that window when they should bite. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, that's always a hard one that I struggle with because, like, to Andy's point, like, we can roll up to anything, any time of day. I mean, there's very specific times of day where like an afternoon thing can play more, but like that is the very extent of it. It's just because of sun, and that's stuff I struggle with where it's like I'll hit something down, especially from traveling down south at a certain point. I'm like, dang, they're just not here. They're gone, and I'll leave and I'll go try to do something else. Where if I just stayed, or if I came back 2 hours later, like that's when that window would happen, and that's just something I feel like. And I feel like I'm not alone in that in regards to struggling when to know when it's going to go down, or like especially knowing like, hey, you just got to go sit there and make the same cast for 4 hours. And it's going to happen for 30 minutes between one of those.
See, I can't do that. I don't know. I can't sit anywhere for 4 hours, but
I feel like a great example of that is, I guess it happened a little bit to my recollection the last fork event, but the first one that Lee won on fork, that was a prime example of he's throwing a topwater over the same spot, same cast for like an hour, and like maybe 3 casts it goes down. Like he just waits for him to start schooling. That makes any sense.
I think that's back to a more of a confidence thing than it is like a window. He knew them fish were going to come up there in school at some point, and he was just going to keep casting until they did. You know what I mean? Instead of like knowing, oh, I got to be here at this certain time, blah, blah, blah. He's like, he has so much experience on that lake that he knows these big ones are going to come up here schooling at some point, and I better be here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what so much of this is just having the experience. And I think a lot of times the bite windows per se is just when that bite starts getting good. So like people that are familiar with the lake know, we don't fish brush until 12 o'clock. That's when those fish start firing. The morning you better be up shallow in the grass, kind of deal. Whereas y'all coming here for the first time was like, hey, I got bit brush really good yesterday afternoon. I'm going to start there. And then you don't get a bite and you're like, what the heck?
So, and then it's you guys that are down there like, you idiot.
Yeah, we're just laughing at you.
Yeah. Look at this rook coming in from the north. Not understanding.
No, they don't say rook. They say these damn Yankees.
Yeah, Yankees.
Yeah,
Yankees.
Just morons.
Pretty much.
That basically describes anybody that still lives in the north. But hey, that's just me.
Better in California.
Hey, that's true. We'll take that.
Yep.
Maybe.
Small wins up here. Small wins. The fishing's the only thing we got going for us.
Y'all got it though. Y'all got some of the nicest people up there though. Y'all really do.
For the most part,
I've met some really, really good people up there.
Yeah, so. I will say that for the most part. Besides Andy, and he's the exception.
I don't know why you still got him.
Hold on. We'll solve this. We'll solve this problem.
Sorry. There we go. Now we can start the
show. Show has begun.
I'm all right with that.
And he's like,
we just gained like another 1,000 views.
That's right. No now everyone's clicking on the video. That's why we got to get rid of it.
Yep, that's it.
Well, dude, one, just appreciate you again. Always taking the time to come on the show. People love listening to you. We love having you. And
absolutely, anytime.
Dude, anything else rest of this year that's coming up besides just Derbs that people can look out for?
I mean, as always, it's big help out. Just follow the Instagram. Try to really step that up this year, posting up a ton of content. Hopefully you like some of it. I don't really care. Whatever. It's going to be out there for you, though. So y'all just check that out. And I don't know. I'm just excited. We kind of finally got the wheels back on track and see if we can't keep this thing rolling.
Heck yeah. Dude, you definitely have noticed in the past few months been stepping up the social game. It's been cool to see. And for folks, if you're not already, you should be. Down in the show notes, whether you're listening or watching on YouTube, there is a link directly to Justin's Instagram. Click on that. Give him a follow. I like that more of your personalities coming out in your Instagram page, because I don't think people knew who the real Justin Hamner was, because when I got a chance to like see you behind, like that you're not on the water behind the camera, like, dude, I'm gonna be straight with you. You're one of the biggest goofs I think I've met. That's a good thing. In a good way. We gotta let that shine.
Okay.
You're like one of the
I'm
most
really awkward too.
I think you went off on it a little bit tonight. You know, like we got down a big rabbit hole here about something.
Yeah.
Those are the best conversations. Nobody cares about the fishing. Just when you start chasing a rabbit hole, that's when it gets real.
I think a great representation of it was the X2 shoot that we did down in Alabama. That was a great representation. Yeah. Just, dude, the thing that makes me laugh, because I actually watched this with Rudd the other day. We were talking about it. Was you just with Wes's boat coming into the dock and we were about to fish and just flooding it on 10 with the trolling motor. You're like, oh, are you gonna fish this dock? Just blow it out. Like,
sorry, didn't know.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, it wasn't even my boat. I like that.
Yeah, and highly encourage people to go watch that video on the X2 Power YouTube channel. It is really funny. It's a good one.
That was a good time. And then you cracked one right after that. Like,
yeah,
that didn't work.
You guys were talking shit in the boat.
We're talking so much.
They're like, you're not gonna catch one on a frog over there.
Yeah, Hunter was like making fun of me. He's like, yeah, 2 inches of water. There's like the frogs hitting the ground, and then go shit out. I was like, yeah, boy.
Crushed it. I was like, dang, all right.
And that was just luck. It was pure luck. There's no way that fish should have been
catching
there.
a fish on that lake is pure luck.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Well, buddy, always appreciate you, man. We're looking forward to getting you back on the show. Keep crushing them, and we'll keep rooting for you.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all. Let me know if you ever need me. I'm here.
Yeah, man. You always got a seat.
I appreciate it.
All right, boss.
Can I take his?
What's
you
that?
Get way more viewers. If I took his, you get a lot more viewers, probably.
Here we go. Sorry, buddy. See you, Andy. Here we go.
All right, there we go.
JK.
I'm just kidding.
I'm
gonna finally like meet him. He's just gonna like be ready to whoop my
ass. And he's a big teddy bear.
It's all good. It's all good.
I appreciate.
All right, bro. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.
See you, man. Oh man, always a riot.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, dude. And like speaking of that X2 video, that thing was if like if people saw us going down the queue,
You just
that would have been great.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. I won't for his own sponsors. I'm not gonna add him back in for that. That's incredible. Oh Lord. If the people only knew.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. But dude, it's always a fun time with Hamner. I feel like we have a good group of guys that we get coming on the show. Him, Wes, a few other guys that it's always a good time. And really, like, folks, I highly encourage you guys to go follow Justin, follow his socials. Like we were saying, he's getting more comfortable coming out of his shell of who he is. He's one of the funniest people I've been around. So encourage you guys to do so. And he's a great guy, really good angler. And I think the future is very bright for him, Andy.
Yeah. Especially if they keep eating a jerkbait.
Yeah, if they keep eating a jerkbait, everyone's screwed. He's going to keep fine-tuning that. But yeah, great show. The Coosa River bass is like, it's one that it's always intrigued me because it could be.
I want to go so bad.
Yeah, you need to get out of New York, pal.
I do. I'm dying.
There's a lot of places we should be going to, but the Coosa River is one where it seems like it could be such a fun time, but also seems like we saw last week and like what Justin was talking about, certain lakes can be really tough, and it's super interesting to learn the dynamic of those fisheries and how they operate. And it's one of those ones where, like, you know, listening to Justin talk, it seems like we are very fortunate again to be up in the north where fish are dumb and they're plentiful. For the most part anyway. And it was cool to hear him talk about how even just small, like to a lot of folks that aren't used to water dropping like we are, you know, our lakes always stay the same unless we get some crazy rain. The they hear 8 inches, like that the water's dropping 8 inches, and like, oh, that can't be that big of a deal. When really it changes the whole entire fishery. It's super unique on how something that minute would affect a fishery that drastically.
Yeah.
Like 8 inches. If our lakes dropped 8 inches, that I don't think our fish would notice.
No, probably not. I feel like they notice more when our lake rises 8 inches as opposed to it falling, because our lakes are so natural, right? Like during the summertime, if we go a month without any rainfall, they naturally drop 8 inches over that month. So it's just like 8-inch drop is nothing. A lot of our lakes are deep. These current river systems, though, when you get an 8-inch drop, it's huge. It takes so much like shoreline cover away from them. They have nowhere to go besides out. As to where our fish are like, oh, okay, I'm no longer going to sit on the most inside part of this dock. Let me slide out to the face of it. And that's like the hardest adjustment we have when our water drops 8 inches. It's just, okay, I know they moved from where they were, but how far out did they actually move? Are they on the inside grass line? Did they move out into the grass? As to where down south, where I know absolutely nothing about at this point because I have never been down there fishing, it just seems like there's way less structure for these fish to live on. Good structure. There's a ton of structure on every lake and cover, but it seems like there's less good structure, especially on those current driven fisheries. That 8 inches is a major significant drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when they live that shallow. Like, it's obviously something more noticeable. Where we get some fish that are dirt shallow, but like majority of time of year, like our fish they wouldn't notice.
Yeah,
you know. But I mean, that's a great point too. And talk about, dude, when you brought up inside grass lines, like, makes me think of the heydays in the fisheries that still have good grass up here.
Yeah,
dude, inside grass lines are so much fun to fish. And I still remember when
they are on, they are so much fun to fish.
They're easy to fish too, because like if you fish off, like in the grass, fishing towards the bank, the fish can't see you. Like, it's such an easy way to approach the bait. It's so natural. You have an easy piece of cover where I mean, this could be a whole episode in itself, Andy, of like people don't realize their own shadow is scaring off fish. And that's why they're not getting bit flipping, things of that nature. Like the small things that you talk about. I think it was Drew Benton talking about after the Murray event, where he likes to be like, if he likes to, because obviously you can see more with the sun to your back, like what's in front of you, so he can see better. But what he'll do is use his shadow as the measurement, where the end of his shadow will be off of the bed, if that makes sense. So the fish isn't spooked by the shadow and he's far enough away. Like that's the same thing I feel like with fishing shallow, especially like shallow grass lines or flipping. Like
boat position is so key.
Yeah, I mean, even if there's a small wind going, like if you face the wind and flip, we talk about wind-driven currents. Yeah. Even the fish and grass are going to position that way. So that's what I don't think people realize. And
that's another thing why you should always fish in the current. Like, and I'm not going to dive completely into it because this is an entire show that we could do, but like, pay attention to what's happening underneath the water and the way you present your bait and the way you should position your boat. Like, and I think that's a subtle clue that we could give here before we decide to actually have that episode, because the way the underwater works and the way those bass position is so key to getting more bites. Like, I love fishing into the wind because I know 90% of the people that we fish against in tournaments don't want to stick their nose into the wind because it's too much work. And I love days where, like today, right, it was blowing 48 miles an hour out of the south, and my silly self was like, you know what, screw it, I'm going fishing today because I will learn something. I try to go out and fish the nastiest weather that I can, unless it's like inoperable, and those are the days you learn the most because there's no one on the water and you can just be free and experiment and have fun and fish a bunch of stuff. Don't be afraid of the bad weather. You can get away from it, be protected, and catch a ton of fish. They usually bite best when the days are like that anyways.
Unless you got a broken bilge pump.
Unless you have a broken bilge pump and you can't get on Erie. But that is another story. So, but yeah, we have tons of little lakes around us that produce giants, and that's what I did today. I went giant hunting and it kind of worked. So it was fun.
Gosh, it's such a it's a fun time of year, and I made a little post tonight, kind of talking about it. Like, it's an awesome time of year because the big girls know they have to move shallow, and they become predictable. And I don't want to say easy, but like, this is the easiest time of year to catch big ones. And I think that's great because it's a great time of year to get people into fishing. But at the same point in time, it's also frustrating when everyone and their mother can catch big ones.
Yeah.
But it's such a special deal, and it's so awesome. Like we were talking about earlier, the lake that you went to, just like the sheer numbers of big ones that we have up here that gets so overlooked is awesome.
You know what I did today? Like I locked one rod in my hand all day, but I did it on purpose because there's a lot of areas where the grass hasn't grown yet where I was fishing, and I was looking for subtle changes in the bottom to figure out why I was getting bit where I was without the grass being there. And I think I found 17 new spots shallow today that I'm like, I'm going to get bit here in August or September. And two of them I caught fish on today. And that's like, everybody can catch fish in the spring, right? Like, it's going out when the fishing is really good, putting your rods down and trying to understand why you got bit and why it's going to apply 4 months later down the road. And that's going to help you become a much better angler than catching that 8-pounder today that you can't have a shot at catching in August because the fishing is absolutely terrible. So I don't know. It's KVD season. Everybody catches big ones in the spring. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun as heck. And I will say, though, summer is my favorite time of year because that's the hardest time to catch the big girls that were up shallow in the spring.
1,000%.
I love that summer bite.
Speaking of the one I caught today and I sent you a picture of, I went back because I recorded today. I went back and watched that fish after I landed. So it was a giant male that I caught, and it had a big bulge on its stomach. So it told me that it already had spawned and was starting to feed again. And it was still peeing. So it was a post-spawn largemouth in 59-degree water.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, we had that crazy.
We did have a big warm-up. Yeah.
I mean, these fish have shown that all they need is a day.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just
So
crazy.
dude, it's super cool. And one thing I will specify, one of my tournaments, I'm not going to call the lake out by name, but I was fishing in 14 foot of water, and the fish's belly, this was the 6-pounder, was completely red, bloody, mangled, just the belly. Like, dude, and it wasn't close to shore. There's nothing close to shore.
Over its tails. Like, was it laying on what it was on, or was it bloody?
Bloody.
Oh,
they're spawning. I mean, I remember telling you last year, it was like early June. And I was telling you, I'm like, dude, I'm catching them spawning that deep. Green ones. These fish, if they have the clarity, they're not scared to spawn deep, especially the big ones. The bigger they are, the lazier they get. Again, this goes back to our big buck conversation. The older a buck gets, the less it wants to move around. Its circle gets tighter and tighter as it gets older and older. The same thing happens with a bass.
Yeah,
I'm adamant about that, and it's really opened my eyes into how early and also how late bigger fish can spawn because they'll spawn deeper.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that one. I think the biggest fish always spawn first, and then at the very end, you will always get another wave of big spawners that like waited it out for everything else to end. And then like you'll have a bluegill spawn going on and be like, holy crap, there's a 6-pound female paired up with a 2-pound male on that bed for no reason. The water's 71 degrees. Like,
yeah, it makes no sense. Like, there's always those random like freak giants that go right at the end. But I'm with you, and that I think the biggest ones spawn first.
Yeah,
and I don't think they spawn where it's obvious.
Nope.
I think when the people are catching those freak giants, like pre-spawn, about to go shallow, and they catch a freak, like say on a rock pile or something like that, I feel like that's where those bigger fish will spawn. I'm not saying they're catching that fish when it's spawning, but like I feel like that location they catch it, that's where that fish was going to spawn.
I feel like this would be a great Barden episode to talk to him about it.
It would be. Yeah. If only we had some cool biologists in New York that actually cared about our fisheries.
Yeah, what was his? I don't want to like direct quote him, but I think they asked for it the last time they were up here, and I think New York State said the latest record they had was like 1978 or 1988 for like recording bass population. I'm like,
New York sucks, man, dude. I tried calling our Fish and Game, so our Department of Environmental Conservation. I got put on hold for 30 minutes and then hung up on when I tried calling and asking about weed mats on Canisius. Like, because in New York, we're not allowed to put rocks.
We're not allowed to alter the bottom of any lake for any reason.
Not allowed to do anything. We cannot drop anything into the lake. Rocks, trees, grass, whatever. But these homeowners are allowed to put weed mats on the bottom of the lake, which kills grass. And all it does, honestly, they're idiots for doing. I think you're dumb if you get one. Is our lures are getting stuck on it. Therefore, you have hooks. And it's designed to give their people a place to swim. And this is only like, what, Andy, 3 to 7 feet of water, maybe? Like, you're going across the bottom. Like,
2 to 8 foot, 2 to 8
you're
foot.
You're going to get hooks.
Oh, my favorite is when they cover rocks with them. Like, you knew there was a rock pile or rock shoal there where there's no grass growing, and they still slap it on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, come on.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, though, when that happens. Like, that's how New York works, though. It's typical New York. But I'm going to be the squeaky wheel, and I'm going to go after that. I would love to I would feel accomplished in life if I got weed mats banned. Mats banned or us allowed to put in, like, brush piles.
Yeah.
You know how cool that would make how diverse our fisheries? I don't know if, I guess I don't know if it would help, but I think it would. Some of our fisheries could benefit from more structure offshore.
Oh, without a doubt. Even if like we could put like cinder blocks on the bottom.
I mean, dude, think about Honeoye. There probably could be bigger bass growing more of as well in Honeoye if you gave more cover.
Here's the thing with Honeoye. We need to take about 75% of the bass out of that lake under 12 inches, and then it will be a bigger bass lake.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like, everyone who fishes a tournament there should keep their limit of 12 to 15-inch bass.
Yeah, make a slot limit on Honeoye.
Oh, like, they actually, it's funny that you bring that up. There's a little lake down in Fredonia. We've talked about it. They implemented a slot limit on it for like 10 years to try and promote it as a trophy bass lake because they had tons of little baby bass in it. And then they stuck tiger muskie in there to like eliminate the baby bass population. But ultimately, what happened when they implemented the slot limit and they put the tiger muskie in, it's like almost all the bass disappeared from the lake. So it's really funky what happened there. Like you could still catch some really big ones and then a bunch of little ones, but like those in-betweeners that they tried to eliminate, they tried to grow with the slot limit, never happened. So it was very weird what happened on that lake. And it used to be actually a really good tournament lake like 20, 25 years ago. And now you're hard pressed to catch 15 to 20 pounds on a good day.
Yeah, there's definitely some fisheries that we could use that would use a lot of help from Steve Barden and his expertise.
Absolutely.
Definitely benefit. But Andy, tonight was a great show. Awesome getting Justin Hamner on here. We're trying to get Will Davis on the show as well here soon. Try to help him introduce more to the podcast realm because you guys should follow him as well. New Elite Series rookie, 5 events in, got the dub on home turf. I think he's sitting like 5th right now in Angler of the Year standings, not just Rookie of the Year. So it's off to a hot start. We got some cool episodes coming up. But what else is on your radar, Andy?
On my radar at this moment, I'm trying to figure out what Lure Lab episode is going to go up this weekend. I do have a few planned out for the next few weeks. So, I mean, and then starting Friday, we go into like 55 days in a row on the water if Mother Nature allows us. So it's going to be a pretty fun stretch of guiding here coming up. So be on the lookout for a lot of big smallmouth.
Any dates or anything of that nature that people can look out for if they want to come catch some smallmouth or largemouth?
So if you want to come catch smallmouth or largemouth and electronic trips are going to be July, August. If you really want, and you're adamant about going smallmouth fishing, I won't say no. It's just a really tough time of year. And then smallmouth trips will really begin going heavy again, like September through October. September is pretty much wide open, but October is almost fully booked up, which is probably my favorite month. And then if you really want to be tricky and try to press our luck for weather, November has some really good smallmouth fishing if you can get on the lake.
This is a great comment.
Yes.
Anthony guys comments. Rumor has it Andy started a knitting YouTube channel. His first project can be seen on the back of that chair.
So since we moved, my wife and I share this office, and this is the blanket she had in her mental health office, and it just kind of got thrown here, and it's pretty cozy, so I just left it.
Yeah, why not? Work perks, right?
Yes, work perks.
That's right.
Well,
a lot of great stuff coming up. There's a new Business from the Basketball episode yesterday that Deacon recorded on the Camus boats program.
I got to look into that.
You got to fish some derbs first.
I'm like 90% certain I'm going to hop in that BFL on Champlain. Like 90% certain. I just need to make sure everything else is wrapped up and I can get up there and figure out if my family's going to go with me or not. But pretty sure I'm doing that one.
You should just get into a whole like region of BFLs.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the issue is like, and this is why I have such a hard time committing to it, is my busy season is May, June, September, October for smallmouth guiding, right? And like, if you look at the BFL schedule, it's like end of April, 2 in May, June, July, September. So it takes away like 4 weeks of guiding for me. So do I want to spend $1,000 to $2,000 to go fish this tournament, or would I rather make that money that I'd be spending on the tournament and guaranteed an income? So that's
you're speaking logically, my friend.
Yes. So tournament fishing, I absolutely love it. I'm going to fish more this summer, and I'm very excited about it. It's just, I also have to remember that I'm a small business owner with a guide business, and that always comes first. Yeah. So at least for now.
Do not blame you at all. I mean, hey, shoot, you could just say, hey, this week we're going to do Champlain trips.
Yeah. I've actually thought about that. Like, there's a tournament on the St. Lawrence. I think it's like the BFL Super, which is a 2-day event on the St. Lawrence. I've thought about staying up there like the week after, because I'll be up there for a week if I decide to do it. It's like, hey, let's go smallmouth fishing for a week at the St. Lawrence. So, which might happen. I got to figure out my schedule, but that could be something that may happen.
There you go.
So,
we have for our New York trail, as well as the Elite Kayak Fishing Trail, which is the Northeast Regional Trail. There is a tournament that is on Lake Ontario that I'm actually really excited about. As long as there isn't a crazy west wind, I'm very excited. Out of Henderson.
Ooh.
Me excited. You know where I'm gonna go if it's low winds. We're gonna we'll put that motor to work. That's for sure.
Are you gonna make the trek, buddy?
Oh, I'm making the trek. You know exactly where I'm going.
You're nuts.
Jeff and I had a field day that time of year. Exactly where I'm going to be going. So it's going to be a great time. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that the wind doesn't blow. That'll be a really cool event. I'll be doing what I love to do in a tournament finally, because there's no tournament on Erie or anything like that. So it's a cool deal. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting because I'll have a work trip that week that I'll literally fly home the Friday of, drive up. I'll probably go practice like the weekend before or something, but might not even do that, honestly, because I got the waypoints. I might as well just go in fresh. So who knows?
YOLO. But if you make that trek, it's like, ooh, what if they're not? What if they play smallmouth on you? Because you know how smallmouth can be.
Well, I'm thinking there's only going to be so many people. Like, even if there's 1 foot rollers, I'll go 1 to 2s, which some people in boats, they're like, screw that. And be like, that's nothing, man. Well, we got to remember, we're in kayaks here. Okay. Most people see 1 foot rollers in a kayak and they're like, oh God, no. Where I'm like, I'm okay. Like because the Great Lakes waves are completely different than smaller lakes waves. You can, if you're smart, you can handle them well. So like, dude, even if it's not too bad, I'm going. Like I have enough waypoints that it should be fun. Make for a cool video. Hopefully if they're there, then it'll be bananas, which I'm trying to double check. Let me actually double check on the date when that's going to be. I think it's August, which If my memory serves me correct, is like the same week that Jeff and I had like 28.5 out there. So
and then the next day they were gone.
No, we couldn't get there because it was 5 footers. And Jeff was like, "I'm not breaking my boat for $1,000."
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't blame you.
Well, now, if it was $5,000, he probably would have went.
You probably would have done it, yeah. Jeff, and honestly, there's very few people that I could count that I would trust in conditions like that driving, and Jeff is very, very much towards the top of that list.
Yeah, don't trust me.
I trust you. You're on that list. You're on the list. No, you're a maniac when it's somewhat calm, but like when it's like crazy like that, you are very calculated. So I trust you with that.
Yeah, it's just gotta let
Jeff
it eat.
is the best driver though I've ever been with.
Oh, he's incredible. I love, like, if it's gonna be rough out, I tell him all the time, like, Jeff, we can take my boat, but I'd rather be in yours because you're such a good driver.
Because you're better.
like I made a post about the other day, like I think it was yesterday, he cracked 31.5 pounds out on the lake, and I'm like, there's no one else I would trust on that lake. Like, that guy literally puts in the time. Like, every day that I'm at the ramp, Jeff is there. I remember calling him like, Jeff, there's a gale warning. How was it out there coming in? He's like, oh, just 10 footers. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, like low and slow, just kind of ride them in, and then once behind the slow, we're good. He's like, yeah. There's like 1s, and then there were 4s, and then there were 10s. I'm like, oh god. Like,
I don't even know what that would feel like going through a 10.
Well, it's crazy because it's a Great Lakes. Like, once they get to a certain size, and anybody who's been out there, like, if you look back when I think it was Chris Johnson when he won the St. Lawrence, like, they didn't put a small craft advisory on the lake, but there were 5 to 6 foot rollers with cappers. Like, literally the waves get so spaced out that you can literally just ride through the troughs and bob and weave your way through and be okay. It's just when you're in it and you're down and all you see is water, and then when you come up and all you see is sky, like, it's a different feeling. Scary. It is a different feeling. Yeah,
very scary. It's like freighter waves, if anybody knows what we're talking about there, but escalated.
Yeah, pass on that one too.
Yeah. But regardless, got a cool tournament coming up this weekend over at Hemlock, for which it's Hemlock, Honeoye, and Canadice. So if anyone knows, those are the 2 lakes. 2 of those 3 lakes are the only lakes in New York without houses in their kayak. I think it's like 9 horse only, like 9 horse and under.
It's 10 and under, but you can't have a 10. It has to be 9.9, I do believe.
Yeah. It's super cool. Like, and I whether boats on it or not, like, that doesn't bother me. It's more the no houses part, because I have learned to hate homeowners for the most part.
Yeah.
In New York, there's some great people I've run into that come out and they'll talk fishing with you, but for the most part, homeowners are not my friend here. From a lake standpoint, but it's a cool place because it's so quiet. When you go there in the morning, it's one of those deals. Like, dude, I've had mornings there on Hemlock and Canadice where it's like you look in the bank and there's deer and there's turkeys gobbling up in the valley, and I've even seen bears before there. Like, it's super, super cool. So looking forward to that event. Always a good time with the NYKBF folk, and I got a lot of work to do. To try to get back on the AOI race. 6th place ain't gonna cut it.
Go get it done, buddy.
That's right. But what we have before then, we'll have another episode. We got Friday's episode coming up. Not exactly sure who is going to be yet, just yet. And sorry for that, folks. It's been a crazy week. Mother's Day, my parents came up, so there was no newsletter this week. So I apologize for the folks that have signed up for the newsletter. There will be one going next week, I promise. But Andy, you got anything else for the folks before we sign out here tonight?
Check out the Serious Angler Network website and pick up some apparel. We don't plug it very often, but we have some sweet hats still available. Tons of cool apparel, coffee mugs, cell phone cases, hoodies. The hoodies are super comfortable. I love my Lure Lab and Brownfin Tuna hoodie. Super, super comfortable. So, yeah. Good.
We got some new designs as well. Speaking of that, we got some new designs we're working on. So the Sears Dangler apparel is like Andy's got the Brownfin Tuna shirt. It's a smallmouth shirt. Super cool, like lifestyle stuff. If you guys want to check those out. And I guess the last plug, Andy, while we're plugging stuff.
Plug away.
check out our amazing sponsors. Obviously, X2 supports us here. You guys see the logos down below. Some amazing people that support the channel, and we support them back for good reason because they can assist and support you guys as a consumer. And we have discounts and all that jazz down in the show notes that you guys take advantage of. And last but not least, if you're on MP3, please leave us a rating and review if you're able to do so. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe. Appreciate everybody that is always supporting us, the constant same names that are always in these. I see Scott, I see Anthony, Adam's in here as well. Adam just went on a guide trip with Andy. Appreciate all of you loyal listeners. You guys are incredible. It does not go unnoticed. And we have some stuff coming up here soon. We're getting close to episode 400. We're going to give back to you guys in a big way. So
what number are we even at now? I keep losing track.
373 or 374.
So what, that puts probably September for 400-ish?
Let's see. Let's give an estimated range for folks. We're
16 times 2 is 32. So we got 32 episodes to go. So 25.
8. So that's 4 months. So May, we got June, July.
September.
Yeah, you're right. It's September. Perfect. It's right on States Week. That's not going to be a cluster at all. Either way, we're going to make it happen. What we're trying to say is we appreciate all of you guys. You guys are amazing. And yeah, we'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.